There comes a moment in every transformation where the old reality becomes loud and the new reality becomes invisible. This is the moment when most people quit. They have imagined, they have believed, they have repeated their affirmations, they have tried to feel the wish fulfilled. But then they look around and nothing seems different. The bank account looks the same. The relationship status looks the same. The opportunities haven't appeared. The world around them seems to be saying, nothing is happening. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake. They judge the unseen by what is visible. They assume because they cannot see movement, there is no movement. But Neville Goddard taught something completely different. He taught that the invisible world comes first. The state you occupy internally must come before the physical expression. The seed is planted before the tree appears. The idea exists before the creation. The assumption exists before the evidence. And many people walk away from their desire at the exact moment when things are beginning to rearrange. They don't fail because the law doesn't work. They fail because they don't recognize the process. The most dangerous moment is when nothing seems to change. Think about planting a seed. You place it in the ground, you water it, then you look tomorrow, nothing. You look the next day, still nothing, you look again, nothing visible. A person who doesn't understand growth might say, this seed isn't working. Nothing is happening. Maybe this was a mistake. So they dig the seed out. They destroy the very process that was already happening beneath the surface. Manifestation is often like this. You choose a new assumption. You begin living from a new identity. You imagine a new reality. But then you check the outside world too quickly. And because the old circumstances haven't disappeared instantly, you assume nothing changed. But what you cannot see is that movement can already be taking place. The internal shift comes first. The external reflection follows. Why people give up too early? Most people are not defeated because they lack desire. They are defeated because they have an old relationship with time. They think, if it was working, I would already see it. But this belief comes from the old state. The person who already has what they desire doesn't constantly panic about when. They don't wake up every morning thinking, is it here yet? Did it arrive? Where is the proof? Why? Because the fulfilled state doesn't operate from desperation. It operates from acceptance. There is a huge difference between wanting something because you trust it is coming and wanting something because you are afraid it won't come. The first creates peace. The second creates resistance. The trap of looking for proof. One of the biggest mistakes people make is constantly checking reality. They imagine their desire at night. They feel excited. They believe. Then the next morning they immediately check, did anything change? Did they message me? Did money appear? Did something happen? And without realizing it, they send a powerful message to themselves. I don't have it yet. The focus is no longer on the fulfilled state. The focus is on absence. They are no longer being the person who possesses. They are being the person who is waiting. And waiting is a state. The difference between waiting and knowing. Imagine ordering something online. After purchasing, you don't usually sit by the door every second screaming, where is it? You know it is coming. You may not know the exact minute. You may not know the exact route, but internally you have accepted. It is mine. That is the feeling of assumption, not excitement mixed with fear, not hope mixed with doubt, a quiet inner knowing. Neville often emphasized the importance of feeling the wish fulfilled. But feeling doesn't mean forcing yourself to be happy every second. Feeling means accepting the identity. It means entering the state where your desire feels natural. Your current reality may be old information. Here is something powerful to understand. Your current circumstances are often a reflection of previous assumptions. The world you see today may be the result of the person you were yesterday. Think about a delay. Imagine changing your thoughts about yourself today. Would every person around you instantly know? Would every circumstance immediately rearrange? Probably not. There is a period where the old patterns continue moving while the new identity begins forming. A person who decides to become healthy may still have old habits. A person who decides to become confident may still feel nervous. A person who decides to become successful may still experience setbacks. But those experiences don't define the destination. They are part of the transition, the bridge of incidents. Neville Goddard spoke about what he called the bridge of incidents. The idea is that once an assumption is accepted, events can unfold in ways you may not consciously predict. The path may not look exactly how you imagined. The answer may arrive through a person you didn't expect. An opportunity may come from a place you weren't watching. A situation may change in a way you couldn't have planned. Many people reject the process because they are expecting a specific route. They say, "This isn't happening the way I imagined." But the universe of circumstances is not limited to your conscious plan. Your job is not always to control the bridge. Your job is to remain faithful to the state. When things appear to get worse, now we reach something very important. Sometimes before a major internal change, life appears to become uncomfortable. Old patterns become obvious. Old emotions surface. Things that no longer match your new identity begin to feel uncomfortable. Many people interpret this as failure. They think, my manifestation is going wrong. But sometimes discomfort is simply awareness. When you change your identity, you begin noticing what no longer belongs. Imagine cleaning a room. Before it becomes organized, you may first see the mess clearly. That doesn't mean cleaning failed. It means you are becoming aware of what needs to change. The old version of you will try to return. When you decide to become a new person, the old identity doesn't always disappear peacefully. The old version says, "Are you sure? Look at your circumstances. Be realistic. Nothing has changed." This voice is familiar. It feels safe because you have practiced it for years. But familiar does not always mean true. A belief can feel natural simply because it has been repeated. The question is, do you want to continue being familiar with the old you, or do you want to become familiar with the new you? The first major sign, your inner world starts changing. Many people expect signs to appear outside first. They want money, messages, opportunities, physical evidence. But one of the earliest signs is often internal. You begin reacting differently. Something that used to destroy your peace no longer controls you. A situation that once caused panic now feels manageable. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop needing constant reassurance. You begin feeling different. And that internal difference is not small. It is the beginning of a new identity. Your desire may be working before it arrives. Think about a building. Before anyone sees the finished structure, there are invisible plans. Architects create designs. Workers prepare materials. Foundations are built underground. A person walking by may say, nothing is there. No. But someone who understands construction knows something is happening. Your manifestation can be similar. Just because the final picture isn't visible doesn't mean preparation isn't happening. Stop asking, is it working? The question itself reveals doubt. Instead of asking, is it working? Try asking, Am I becoming the person who naturally experiences this? Because the biggest shift isn't always getting something. The biggest shift is becoming someone different. The person who naturally receives love. The person who naturally experiences opportunities. The person who naturally expects good things. If you are in a period where nothing seems to be happening, don't immediately assume failure. Maybe you are in the invisible stage. Maybe the old reality is simply completing its movement. Maybe your biggest challenge is not creating. Maybe your biggest challenge is remaining faithful. The seed does not become a tree because you dig it up every day. It becomes a tree because you allow the process. Your job is not to force the flower open. Your job is to create the condition where it can bloom. So, before you give up, ask yourself, am I looking at what is visible or am I trusting what I have already planted within? Because sometimes the moment you think nothing is happening is the moment everything is beginning to move. Most people are waiting for the wrong signs. They believe a manifestation is working only when something dramatic happens. A large amount of money appears, a specific person returns, a dream opportunity arrives, a sudden miracle changes everything overnight. But what if the first signs are not outside of you? What if the first evidence appears in the person you are becoming? Because before your world changes, you change. Before the external reality reflects a new assumption, your inner world begins moving first. The greatest mistake people make is looking for the final result while ignoring the transformation happening within. They miss the small changes. They miss the subtle shifts. They miss the quiet signs that their old identity is losing its control. And then, because they don't recognize the movement, they return to the old state. Sign number one, you no longer feel the same about the old reality. One of the strongest signs your manifestation is moving is when the old reality starts losing its emotional power over you. Something that once controlled you doesn't control you anymore. The same situation appears, but your reaction changes. The same person doesn't respond, but you don't collapse. The same obstacle appears, but you don't immediately assume the worst. Why? Because you are no longer the same person who created that emotional pattern. Your external world may still look familiar, but your relationship with it is changing, and that is powerful. Many people misunderstand this stage. They think, why hasn't the situation changed yet? But they don't notice the bigger transformation. They have changed, and the person you become is what eventually determines what you experience. The old version of you starts feeling uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed that after making a decision to improve yourself, your old habits suddenly feel heavier? The conversations you used to enjoy feel empty. The negative thoughts you used to accept feel uncomfortable. The fears you used to identify with feel foreign. This is not always a bad sign. Sometimes it means you are separating from an old identity. Imagine wearing clothes that no longer fit. At first, you may continue wearing them because they are familiar, but eventually you realize this is no longer who I am. The same thing happens internally. The old self becomes uncomfortable because you are becoming someone new. Sign number two, your desire becomes calmer. This is one of the most misunderstood signs. Many people think, if I want it badly enough, I will receive it. But sometimes intense obsession is actually a sign that you are focusing on the absence. Think about someone who already owns something valuable. Do they constantly panic about receiving it? No. They know, they accept, they move naturally. The same applies to your desire. At first, you may feel intense excitement. You imagine constantly. You think about it all day. But as the assumption becomes deeper, something changes. The desperation begins disappearing. The urgency becomes quieter. You still want it, but you are no longer controlled by the lack of it. This is a major shift. When you stop chasing, you create space. Many people misunderstand letting go. They think letting go means I don't want it anymore. Or, no, letting go means I no longer need to force the universe to prove something to me. You can desire something and still be peaceful. You can want love and still feel whole. You can desire success and still trust yourself. You can want abundance and still feel secure today. The person who already has it doesn't chase from fear, they move from certainty. Sign number 3, your self talk changes naturally. Another powerful sign is when your inner conversation begins transforming. Before, nothing works for me. After, things are working out. Before, after, I can figure this out. Before, nobody chooses me. Yeah? After, I am valuable. Yeah. Notice something important. You don't have to force these thoughts forever. They begin becoming natural. Why? Because your identity is changing. Your thoughts are not random. They are expressions of the state you occupy. Change the state, and the thoughts begin following. Your mind starts looking for evidence of the new you. The human mind searches for confirmation. If you believe, life is against me, you notice every problem, every rejection, every delay, every disappointment. But when your assumption changes, you begin noticing different things. You notice opportunities, you notice possibilities, you notice support, you notice solutions. The world didn't suddenly become different. Your awareness changed, and your awareness influences your experience. Sign number 4, you start losing interest in proving yourself. This is a subtle but powerful transformation. The old identity often wants to prove I am worthy, I am successful, I am important. It looks outside for validation, but the new identity becomes quieter. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You don't need to convince everyone. You don't need constant approval. Why? Because you have started accepting yourself internally. A person who knows their value doesn't spend every moment trying to prove they have value. Sign number 5, random opportunities begin appearing. Now let's discuss external signs. Sometimes movement does appear outside, but often not in the way people expect. A conversation happens, a new idea appears, someone introduces you to something, a door opens unexpectedly, you discover a new direction. These moments may seem random, but they can become part of what Neville called the bridge of incidents, the path between where you are and where you are going. The mistake is thinking, this isn't exactly what I imagined. Remember, your conscious mind may imagine the destination, but life can create the route. The danger of ignoring small movement. Many people reject progress because it doesn't look like the final result. Imagine someone wanting financial freedom. They receive a new connection, a new skill, a new idea, a small opportunity. They say, this isn't enough, and they ignore it. But what if that small step is part of the bridge? What if the door is opening slowly? A massive transformation often begins with a small shift, a small decision, a small conversation, a small change in identity. Sign number 6, you feel like something is changing, even without proof. Have you ever had a feeling that something is different? Nothing obvious has happened, but internally something feels different. You feel calmer, you feel more confident, you feel less attached, you feel more certain. This is often the beginning. Before a physical change appears, a psychological change occurs. You start becoming familiar with the reality before experiencing it physically. Why your old world may seem to test you. Many people experience this. They decide to change. Then suddenly everything seems to challenge them. Old fears appear, old problems return, old people show up. They think, why is everything getting worse? But consider this. When you change your identity, life gives you opportunities to practice it. If you want confidence, you may face moments where confidence is required. If you want peace, you may face situations where peace is tested. If you want self worth, you may encounter situations where you must choose yourself. The challenge is not proof you failed. The challenge reveals whether you believe the new identity. The biggest sign you stop needing the manifestation to save you. This is perhaps the deepest transformation. At the beginning, many people think, when I get this, then I will finally be happy. But eventually, something changes. You realize, I can become whole now. The desire becomes something beautiful, not something responsible for your happiness. You don't need another person to complete you. You don't need money to prove your worth. You don't need success to become valuable. You become valuable first. And from that state, you naturally move differently. Don't confuse peace with giving up. A lot of people fear becoming calm. They think, if I stop worrying, maybe I stop trying. But peace is not giving up. Peace is confidence. A person who knows they planted a seed doesn't dig it up every morning. They continue caring for it. Then they allow growth. The same applies to your assumption. Return to the state. Live your life. Take inspired action. But stop constantly demanding proof. Final message of part 2. Your manifestation may not announce itself with a dramatic sign. Sometimes the first sign is you think differently, you react differently, you feel differently, you choose differently, you become someone different. And that is not a small change. That is the foundation of everything that follows. Because before your reality changes, your identity must become familiar with the new reality. In the next part, we will uncover the biggest mistake that delays manifestation. Why searching for signs, doubting, and constantly checking can pull you away from the very thing you desire. There is one mistake that silently destroys the confidence of thousands of people who practice manifestation. They imagine, they believe, they visualize, they feel the wish fulfilled. But then, they do something that completely contradicts the state they are trying to occupy. They look outside, they check, they analyze, they question, they search for proof, and without realizing it, they return to the identity of someone who does not have what they desire. This is one of the deepest lessons hidden in Neville Goddard's teachings. The question is not only, what are you imagining? The deeper question is, what state are you returning to after you imagine? Because your dominant state is what you continue to express. The manifestation checking loop. Imagine this. You go to sleep imagining your dream life. You feel happy, you feel grateful, you feel like everything is already yours. Then you wake up. The first thing you do is grab your phone. You check, did they message? Did the opportunity appear? Did something change? Did I receive a sign? And if you don't find what you wanted, your emotional state changes. Suddenly, maybe it's not working. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I need another technique. Maybe I need to visualize more. And now you have moved from the state of having to the state of searching. The person who has it doesn't search for it. Think about something you already own. Do you wake up every morning wondering, do I still have my phone? Should I look for signs that my house exists? Maybe my car disappeared. No. Why? Because ownership creates certainty. There is no emotional struggle. There is no desperate searching. It is simply accepted. Neville's concept of assumption works in a similar way. You are not trying to convince yourself that something will happen. You are entering the state of the person for whom it is already natural. The problem with constant affirmations. Now let's talk about affirmations. Affirmations can be powerful. They can help redirect attention. They can help create new mental patterns, but there is a hidden mistake. Some people repeat affirmations from a place of fear. They say, I am wealthy. But internally, I'm terrified about money. They say, I am loved. But internally, I'm afraid everyone leaves. They say, everything works out for me. But internally, what if everything goes wrong? What? The words are positive, but the state behind the words is still fear. The goal isn't to repeat a sentence endlessly. The goal is to become familiar with the identity behind the sentence. When manifestation becomes obsession, there is a difference between dedication and obsession. Dedication feels peaceful. Obsession feels desperate. Dedication says, I know what I want, and I am becoming aligned with it. Obsession says, I need this to happen, otherwise I cannot be okay. The second state creates pressure, and pressure often reveals the belief. I don't have it. No. A person who already feels secure does not need to chase certainty every minute. They have accepted. The biggest question reveals your state. Listen carefully to the questions you ask yourself. Questions reveal assumptions. A person living in lack asks, why hasn't it happened? A person living in trust asks, how can I continue being the person who already has it? A person living in fear asks, what if it doesn't work? A person living in confidence asks, what would the fulfilled version of me do today? Your questions reveal the identity you are occupying. Stop giving your circumstances final authority. This is one of the hardest lessons. Your current reality is powerful because you can see it. You can touch it, you can experience it. But visible does not always mean permanent. Think about the weather. If it rains today, does that mean it will rain forever? No. A moment is not a destiny. A circumstance is not an identity. A delay is not a denial. A temporary situation does not have the authority to define your entire future. The old reality will try to get your attention. When you begin changing internally, the old patterns may continue appearing. A person may act the same way. A problem may still exist. A situation may still look unchanged. And the old version of you immediately reacts, see, nothing changed. But this is the moment of choice. The question becomes, will you let the old reality choose your identity? Or will you remain loyal to the person you are becoming? The power of not reacting. Many people think manifestation requires constant action. But sometimes the most powerful action is not reacting from the old state. Someone disappoints you. Old you. Nobody cares about me. New you. This does not define my worth. A setback happens. Old you. Everything is falling apart. New you. I can handle this. Things can change. A delay appears. Old you. It will never happen. New you. I remain who I choose to be. The difference is not the event. The difference is the identity responding to the event. Why doubt doesn't destroy your manifestation. Many people become afraid of doubt. They think, if I have one negative thought, I ruined everything. But this creates another problem. Now they are manifesting from fear of failure. They are constantly monitoring their mind. They are afraid of their own thoughts. That is not freedom. Remember, a thought is not a command. A moment of doubt does not define you. What matters is the state you repeatedly return to. Everyone experiences uncertainty. The difference is whether you build a home inside uncertainty. The secret of persistence. Neville often emphasized persistence, but many misunderstand persistence. Persistence does not mean thinking about your desire every second, forcing yourself to feel happy all day, ignoring practical responsibilities, pretending problems don't exist. True persistence means returning to the chosen state again and again and again. When you forget, return. When fear appears, return. When circumstances challenge you, return, becoming the person who trusts. Let's imagine two people. Person A wants success. They wake up every morning thinking, why am I not successful yet? Their entire identity is built around not having. Person B wants success. They wake up thinking, what would the successful version of me do today? They learn, they create, they take action, they improve. They are not waiting for success to give them identity. They are building the identity first. The importance of self-concept. Everything returns to self-concept. Your self-concept is the story you have accepted about yourself. If you see yourself as unlucky, you interpret life through that lens. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, you notice struggle. If you see yourself as someone who receives opportunities, you recognize possibilities. Changing your reality begins with changing the person who is experiencing reality. You don't attract what you want, you express who you are. This is the deeper lesson. Many people approach manifestation like shopping. I want this. I want that. Give me this experience. But the deeper transformation is become the consciousness that naturally experiences those things. A confident person experiences confidence. A secure person experiences security. A loving person experiences love differently. A person who expects good things notices different opportunities. The internal world becomes the foundation. The moment you stop asking for permission, a powerful shift happens when you stop waiting for external approval. You stop saying, when they choose me, I'll feel worthy. When I have money, I'll feel secure. When myself. Instead, I choose worthiness now. I choose security now. I choose confidence now. The external world no longer creates your identity. Your identity influences how you move through the external world. The final warning. The biggest danger is not failing to manifest. The biggest danger is abandoning yourself while waiting for manifestation. You lose your peace, you lose your confidence, you lose your joy. You become someone who is constantly waiting for life to begin. But your life is happening now. The person you want to become does not begin after the manifestation arrives. That person begins today. So if you feel like your manifestation is taking too long, ask yourself, am I living as the person who already has it, or am I constantly proving that I don't? Are you trusting or checking? Are you accepting or chasing? Are you becoming or waiting? Because the final shift is not when the world finally changes. The final shift is when you stop needing the world to change before you become who you want to be. There is a moment in every transformation where something inside you changes. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. There is no announcement, no external confirmation. No person comes and tells you, congratulations, you have changed. It happens quietly. One day, you simply notice. You are no longer the same person who was desperately waiting. You are no longer constantly searching. You are no longer asking, when will it happen? Instead, something deeper has replaced the question. You begin asking, who am I now? And that is the final stage. The moment you stop chasing the reality you want, because you have become familiar with the person who naturally experiences it. The final secret, the desire, was never only about the thing. Many people think manifestation is about getting something: a relationship, money, a career, a house, recognition, success. But Neville Goddard's deeper teaching points to something beyond the object. The desire is often a doorway into a different version of yourself. Think about it. Why do you want success? Is it only the money, or is it the feeling of freedom, the confidence, the ability to create? Why do you want love? Is it only having another person, or is it the feeling of being accepted, being seen, being valued? Why do you want abundance? Is it only numbers, or is it peace, security, possibility? The thing you desire is often showing you the person you are ready to become. The moment you stop chasing, the world teaches people to chase success, chase attention, chase approval, chase validation, chase proof. But Neville's teaching creates a different approach. Instead of chasing the reflection, you change the source. Instead of begging life to show you something different, you become someone different. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. If you don't like the reflection, you don't attack the mirror. You don't scream at it. You don't try to physically change the reflection. You change yourself. The reflection follows. Your outer world is similar. The deepest change begins within. Detachment does not mean giving up. Many people misunderstand detachment. They think, if I stop thinking about it, maybe I don't want it anymore. But detachment is not losing desire. Detachment is losing desperation. There is a difference. A person who gives up says, it will never happen. A person who has detached says, I know who I am. I trust the process. One comes from disappointment, the other comes from confidence. You can still desire something deeply while being peaceful. You can still have goals while enjoying today. You can still dream while knowing you are already whole. The power of naturalness. This is one of the deepest concepts in Neville Goddard's teachings. The thing you accept as true eventually feels natural. At first, a new identity feels strange. Imagine someone who has spent years believing, I am unlucky. Now they begin saying, good things happen for me. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. The mind says, that doesn't sound like you. But repetition changes familiarity. Eventually, confidence feels natural, peace feels natural, abundance feels natural, love feels natural. And when something feels natural, you no longer fight for it. Your manifestation becomes an identity, not a goal. There is a huge difference between I am trying to become successful and I am someone who creates success. The first identity is waiting. The second identity is being. There is a difference between I want to be loved and I am someone who is worthy of love. Uh, there is a difference between I want abundance and I am someone who expects possibilities. Um, the shift is from wanting to being. The final test, can you remain the same when nothing has changed yet? This is where true faith is developed. Anyone can feel confident when everything works. Anyone can believe when evidence appears. But the real transformation happens when you remain faithful before the evidence. When the outside world says, nothing changed, and something inside you says, I know who I am becoming. That is the moment you stop being controlled by circumstances. You become the creator of your inner state, the person who already has it. Let's imagine this person, the person who already has the relationship, the success, the confidence, the freedom. How do they wake up? Do they immediately panic? Do they check for proof? Do they wonder if they are worthy? Probably not. They move differently, they think differently, they make decisions differently. Not because they are pretending, because their identity has changed. So ask yourself, how would the fulfilled version of me live today? Not someday, today. The morning practice. When you wake up tomorrow, before checking your phone, take a moment, ask, who am I choosing to be today? Not, what do I need to fix? Not, what is missing? Not, why hasn't it happened? Ask, who am I? Maybe the answer is, I am calm, I am confident, I am supported, I am worthy, I am capable, I am someone who expects good things. Then move through your day from that identity. The night practice, SATS. Neville Goddard often spoke about the state akin to sleep, the moment before sleep when the mind becomes relaxed and receptive. Use this time wisely. Do not imagine from desperation. Do not imagine because you are trying to force reality. Imagine because you are becoming familiar. Close your eyes, relax. Imagine a short scene, a scene that would happen naturally after your desire is fulfilled. Maybe someone congratulates you. Maybe you are sitting peacefully in your new home. Maybe you see a message confirming your success. Maybe you feel gratitude. Do not focus on the journey. Experience the destination. Feel. This is normal. This belongs to me. This is who I am. Then fall asleep in that feeling. When doubt returns, remember something important. Doubt may appear, fear may appear, old memories may appear. This does not mean you failed. The goal is not to become a person who never experiences negative emotions. The goal is to become someone who does not let temporary emotions define their identity. A storm can pass through the sky, but the sky remains. Your thoughts are passing experiences. You are the awareness choosing the state. The last thing you must stop doing. Stop asking, where is it? Because that question keeps you connected to absence. Replace it with, how can I embody it today? Stop asking, when will they choose me? Ask, how can I choose myself today? Yeah. Stop asking, why isn't my life changing? Ask, what identity am I practicing? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your awareness. Your future self is not far away. Many people imagine their future self as someone completely different, someone years away, someone they must struggle to become. But your future self is not a stranger. It is a possibility already within you. Every time you choose differently, you move closer. Every time you think from confidence instead of fear, you move closer. Every time you return to the new state, you move closer. Transformation happens through repeated choices. Maybe you have been waiting for your manifestation, waiting for the sign, waiting for the confirmation, waiting for the world to prove that you are changing. But perhaps the greatest sign is already here. You are no longer satisfied with the old version of yourself. You are questioning, you are growing, you are becoming aware. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. The person you want to become is not created when the manifestation arrives. The manifestation arrives when you become familiar with that person. So tonight, close your eyes, release the need to chase, release the need to control, release the need to constantly check. And remember, you are not waiting for life to give you permission. You are not waiting for someone else to choose you. You are not waiting for circumstances to prove your worth. You choose, you assume, you become. Slowly, the world begins reflecting the person you have decided to be. Because the final secret is not, how do I get what I want? The final secret is, who must I become so that what I want becomes natural? Become that person. Live as that person. Return to that person. And one day, you will look around and realize the reality you once imagined has become the reality you live. You didn't chase it, you became it.